Hello. Good morning. Well, good morning server time. Um, it is dawn on, in the British Shore, and we're picking up from where we left off last night, which was I just left Batsaha, um, and I am going to try to go directly to crossings where I will hopefully be able to trade in some items for um, the uh, ghost cat hairballs that we got last night. Um, so hopefully, uh, hopefully, uh, we will be able to get let's see, I do have those items in my bag, right? Yes, I do. If we look out, some of the merchants' inventories will have changed. Will have changed over, which should make it easier to gather new items. Possibly even upgrade the weapon we have. Although for right now, I think I might leave that as is. Simply because it offers a bonus to, like I said, mechanics and physicality, which are the two talents that, if you're looking to do a Book of Travels game and play it like an action adventure, TTRPG, or RPG game, mechanics and physicality are going to be your two best talents to choose between the two to put points in. That will probably get you the rarer items quicker. This is the NPC I spoke of in the last video. Part 1, at the end of the video, I believe the last hour, shows the item or the NPC you have to find in Charwood, called Ghost Cat, that you can trade pet treats for ghost hairballs. And we are just going to go through the trade. Now, most times you can only trade items one at a time. Let's see, I'm just gonna... Yes, so it says try something else, despite the fact that that is the item. There we go. We get 5 knots of thankful wishes and a ritual ship, and this is again volume 1 and over 1300, and trade value is pretty good. And you can do this trade, I believe it's six times per server. So if you are looking to start off quickly, if you've been playing the game and you haven't played since the inventory update and you didn't know about this, it is a very quick way to just go on in one evening, go to Charwood, give the cute little ghost cats some pet treats, let them cough up a hairball for you, a translucent ball of ghostly cat hairs, and then you can get these. And Ethel also occasionally carries other items in their shop. You don't have the not from ancient times, nor do you have a line, which is the other. Alright, so now that we have these, and it is still dawn. The other thing that I am planning on doing, I hope I still have time to do this. I don't actually know if we will make it out to the island in time. But the reason that I suggest your path when you start to do the quest in Batsaha, it will familiarize you with how that works. Or how, I guess, quests in this game work. Not that they really have a, okay, good. Not that quests necessarily have a set method. There are no set quests in this game. There are items that you can bring to people or that people are looking for. One of my favorite things to do is covertly deliver mail out of the lockdown city. But there are a couple of longer storylines. I guess I should call them storylines as opposed to quests. Because not all of them are just bring... I mean, there's plenty of bring X to Y person, but... the reason that I wanted to do the Batsaha intro quest... There we go, and this is Gull Rock on Elkin Rock Coast that I spoke of earlier, and the mysterious figure, the Wandering Weaver, which... Come on, behave. I don't have a ton of time here. Fold. Let's see, if I move to Port of the Deer, those are the two, I believe I mentioned previously, those are the two, things that are the most difficult to get. I guess not of the cheater. Yeah, because a line... There we go. So that gets us particularly Port of the Deer, which is very good for this build. This is an Eastern Wind character, and so all of the Eastern Wind skills cost one less than they normally would. Not of the Cheater, which also is just generally good in if you don't want to go through the transformation sequence for a spell. And Fold, which is the one teleportation spell in the game. There are a few other things in this character's inventory which I don't think, for those who first align, if you haven't already gotten it, but you can get it from another seller at Batsaha. UC's envelope can only be found here, but because of the high knowledge cost, see, it'd be 5 for me, but for someone with a Northern Wind character, it would be 4. It's usually not worth it. It's more worth it to just train your armor skill, and Flaring Crescent can be found on occasion from a random mystic student that wanders around the Jesem Lodge in Sherwood Forest or around Hov Eridom. This is particularly good for those who don't necessarily want to carry around a sword. It is better for those who are higher level, who have more knowledge points to put into it, and who are Southern Wind. As I said before, Southern Wind is kind of the more apt to fighting kind of thing, but I wanted to show the Wandering Weaver as this is possibly one of the most. This is the first set of spells that I would collect is more or less complete at this point, outside of Align and Brew of Land and Sea, which help you see spirits, which is useful for several important events. I won't go through the lore for the Wandering Weaver, as as sad as that makes me, since, like I said, this is just a quick start guide. I will just say, if you're Southern Wind, particularly picking up Flaring Crescent here is useful. If the Align is useful if you do not have it. Unveil is not the same as Align. It is not just to reveal ghosts. There are other entities like Sephra that it will usually highlight, but it will highlight any creature on a map pretty much. And the big spells that we got yesterday for traveling quicker were the Kelim's Gate. We started with Affinity for water, so that we don't have to worry about food as much. You can regain energy just by standing in water. Villain, so we could read. Fishing, so that we can consistently have a source of food and trade. Wind Shelter and Fireplace for making teas that can boost our abilities. The weapon and armor proficiency, not that I will always have both of these active, but I will activate them if I'm running through hostile areas. Ardent Lantern, so that I don't have to carry around a torch all the time. Especially until I get better torches later in the game, or better lanterns later in game. Veiled Gate, which was by the two large trees in the middle of Western Harvest Route from a random NPC that spawns there called the Kassayan Wind Voice. Knot of the Mimrob, which was from the Esoteric Merchant in Casa, and Port of the Deer, Knot of the Cheater, and Fold from specifically from the Wandering Weaver, because this is, while you can find those knot spells elsewhere, this NPC is always here at dawn and dusk, and as such is possibly one of the most reliable places to get those spells. They won't always have Port of the Deer. Sometimes they'll have one of the other port spells, but it is still useful because the spell itself is unfortunately, I do not have the spell that can turn me into a bush. It is nice playing an Eastern Wind character, because since I do have Port of the Deer, we are now... I'm collecting reagents on this island specifically because... Oh, and that's the other thing why having Wind Shelter is good. Like, I could make a fire right now, for those who are not used to this. However, if it were raining, you couldn't make a fire like that. So knowing how to make fire, or knowing the fireplace skill and the create wind shelter skill is important to having access to things like teas that will restore energy, make you hit harder, or protect you better. No, come back here. So one of the things I'm currently doing, aside from finishing this endeavor, is uh, ooh, that's worth a lot. Thank you. I don't think that's. I don't think the pattern robe is worth more than what I have right now. I'll just take all of this. It does fit in. I don't have a lot of room left in my bag, but I have enough. I guess that probably is better than what I have technically, at least from a fighting perspective. It's fine. We'll deal with that later. Anyway, so I traded. Should I get a line? I probably can't afford it without using more of the ritual shivs, and I want to save these because, I got the 3 main abilities that I really, really wanted. Because they're very hard to find other places. At least I've had problems finding them other places, and this is a good stable NPC that you can always get to at some point. Let's see. I don't want to train Fold. So let's show Port of the Deer, because the Port of the Deer spell for most other winds would be 3 cost. However, for an Eastern Wind character, the knowledge point cost of memorizing the spell is 2, and also it doesn't level up. Like, there are certain spells that, like Fold or Fishing, which level up. So I don't have to worry about unlearning. None of the Memorab does this too, but it's less of an issue for that. Port of the Deer will, at the very least, allow me to run around very quickly, which hopefully, let me see, if I am going to... trying to think of the fastest thing that I would do. It is a little bit... it is probably too... I doubt that the Wandering Weaver would be here if I go and get more items from the underbelly and come back. Usually you want to do that either right before dawn or right before dusk when they show up. Fiscal Might sounds like you're very good at training Xanth. I am fiscally mighty. I am actually not, because I don't have the boosted trading spells or items as of right now, which is something that I probably won't go into here, because I have the item in order to get I have the item that allows you to get the access to the trader who sells you the skill books for the skills Flower Mark and Forbidden Brew, which increase your trade modifier, which means that you can drastically reduce the amount of you can drastically reduce what you would have to give. I am going to quickly check the Charsmith over here, because at times the Charsmith will have a Woot's droplet, which is not... Okay, why are you misbehaving? sometimes you need to go through the dialogue in order to open up the shop. No, still no Woods droplets. That's fine. We will go back to Vatsaha probably after I double check in with the robe maker. Hello. An artificer of enchanted garments, good quality leather cloak, a piece of rare jewelry, and an ancient poem. Ancient poem knot is the hardest thing to get on that list. The pavilion is a good way to get earlier game items. I think I previously mentioned that the sturdy jade tip cane is actually one of my favorite items to have with me. Earlier on we got the in part 1 we got the Not From a Time of War item, which will allow you to craft a sword. Outside of some random drops, I think the Sharp Crossing Crescent, which is crafted at that pavilion, is one of the better swords. Yeah, as Enikaru in chat said, thank you, chat. The discount coupon spell is Flower Mark. Another reason for... Normally I would pick Northern... Or normally I would pick Southern Wind and then Northern. But Eastern Wind is very useful in that the port spells that you can have can get you around the map very quickly. I guess I should actually... Right now I'm actually just going here specifically so that I can use the ferry. Oh hey, a well-used, well-loved leather back piece. I don't know, it's poor quality, so I don't know. So if we luck out and we get the ancient poem knot, then maybe. There is a wiki, there is a Book of Travels wiki, that people worked very hard on that is wonderfully helpful for telling you what items you could need, and what might be helpful to start out with. Like I said, this is day 2. Doesn't look like you have anything I want. This is day 2 of, and I already have... I don't necessarily have a lot in the way of fancy items. However, I do have a lot going, or I do also have a lot going for... Also, the nice thing about Western Verve is sometimes you can just pick up stuff and run back over to the... If you think you might use it, that bag occasionally has expensive items in it. For instance, the armor that I just picked up, I might not want to use it, but it may come in handy. So, I'm going to leave it in the inventory for right now. Coagulated engine oil, that is needed for Knot of the Cheater. Knot of the Cheater, all it does is, so you see when I run, the yellow bar underneath my energy runs down. Knot of the Cheater, you untie that and it automatically replenishes all of your stamina. It's very useful. here we go. We're gonna see, hopefully I will luck out and Batsaha will have the ancient poem knot that I need, and then I can get some nice looking jewelry. Okay, poor quality would preclude the leather back piece from being used. I know that there are certain... I know there is a certain list on the wiki of what leather, or what back piece constitutes the leather back piece. For the robe pavilion, crossings crafter pavilion quest. But I wonder if the cobalt casa, or I wonder if the cloak that I got, the other one that I had picked up, would work. Unfortunately, I left it at the train station, but I will have to check it. I know I'm pretty sure the New Foundry style robe works with it. This gameplay loop is honestly something between the Underbelly, Myrrh, Batsaha, and Crossings is probably the easiest gameplay loop to do initially. See, this trader also has a line, which they don't carry as expensive things from... Doesn't look like they have not from ancient times, which is fine. I am also here to speak to Ninian Turkit to see, because there is one more portal spell, but you have to do a little bit of a quest first. Anxious Father. Hello, Ninian. Philip, you startled me. I thought you might be one of my precious pebbles returning to me. You see, my chest of almond pebbles has gone missing. Did my pebbles suddenly become cross with me? I don't know what I could have done to displease them. Oh, my little liar, she will be so disappointed. And this is Imaginative Child. A tiny pebble is sitting regally atop a castle. It's the king. Hello, Lyre. Hello, my name is Lyre. What's yours? Do you like my rock castle? I built the walls really, really high to protect the treasure from within from the bad, bad worm. Do you want to know what the treasure is? Maybe if... Alright, you can have treasure, but only if you bring me something... Some other treasure the castle can protect. Something shiny. This seems like it won't make sense, but it will in a minute. Do I have anything that she might constitute as shiny? A lot of these things are actually... A lot of the things I have are rather expensive. Yeah. The reason that I would do this quest, and I think I mentioned this before, is it does give you access to it gives you access to Ninian as a vendor, and he is also one of the only other I think you can just give her little crushed stones. Oh, I guess in Casa, the Oso merchant's robe. Xanth in chat, thank you for that. If you get into Casa, they will, you can just trade that, I suppose. The other thing is this also allows for me to buy... No, that's gonna be super less expensive. It hurts me seeing, like, discs and not reading all of the lore from them, but... we're going to try to just use polished amber. How much is the polished amber? Yeah, that makes sense. It is shiny. Oh, normally I don't like trading away my not so thankful wishes, but I will in this case because opening Ninian Turkit as a merchant early on is very important for getting... He does not always carry the Trainmaster Secret Knot, but that spell allows you to portal back to the train station. Let's see. And we get the small chest of omen pebbles. Let's trade. Shiny, I love it. The king of the castle will watch over the shinies really, really closely. I dub the royal treasure grabber of the rock castle. Here the treasure grabber can hold on to my other treasure. Alright. And now we can return these. Kalim, have my pebbles found their way back home to me? Oh, my bosom can hardly contain my joy. I knew my honeyed offerings would work. Please, Kalim, here, you may have one of my pebbles. Oh, this is another good free item. It gives you -1 physicality, but it is +2 spirituality. And if I'm remembering correctly, it's one of the best offhand spirituality items that you can get easily early in game. Because literally you can find polished amber on the ground and give it to Lyre, Ninian's daughter. If you hold on to it and cherish it, it will surely do the same for you. And now you can talk to him. The Kalim with the sharp eyes. What can I do for you today? You may have guessed that I am in fact a merchant by trade. I typically deal in rare mechanical marvels that pass through Batsaha. A fascination that remains the sole inheritance from my time in New Foundry and the cold mechanical creature who calls herself my mother. The dialogue in this game is great. I highly suggest reading all of it, honestly, but Jolts of Leaping Energy and Spot Injury. No luck. No luck. I am sorely tempted to get bated breath, but I do not think it is worth it when there is a chance that I can possibly get other swords with ward. Ward is a lot more useful these days. It Speed is useful, but also if you're someone like me who cannot follow combat as quickly, um, it's not always worth it. But this this NPC, Ninian, up on Batsaha Rise, uh, where my character icon is, worth doing the Omen Pebble quest for. Really important, again, well worth the time it takes to get item, or to do the little quest for his daughter and open him up as a merchant. Bated Breath, the sword that I showed, is a good sword. It is fast, it gives you extra speed. If you have good armor, it is well worth it. I personally am not going for a lot of armor. Like, I could, I'm not really... Like, this wouldn't be too bad in terms of armor that would be good base game armor. There's a reason Batsaha is one of the first places that you have longer quest in. Jewelry for the robe that I had spoken about earlier can be found usually at the this is the carpet merchant. They have something else, but at the jewelry shop, I am going to pick up 6 more pet treats, just because I tend to do that when I'm in Badsaha. I hate clicking through this dialogue so fast. Unfortunately, I am just here for pet treats. Because they are good to have as a, again, as a thing to just get you daily, or a steady influx of trade value without having to go through the underbelly. You can choose to just go from Myrrh down through Western Harvest Route and down south to Charwood, and then from Charwood to Alkin Rock Coast. And then north to Crossings, and you will have gathered several of these. I personally, so as far as swords go, it really depends. I almost always go for high ward, and this depends on the kind of combat person you are. I'm actually gonna switch out. I usually go for higher ward, because if you guard, unless your opponent's attack is higher than your guard, it does not detract from your ward. At least that has been my I'm gonna fish really quick while we talk about this. In my thing in the past, or my experience in the past, so I actually will go for a sword that has a higher ward, usually the Riverfield Guard. And I will wear a lot of armor, which you can find most of that armor without having to, say, go on a lot of quests. Some of the best armor and accessories are actually sold at the Crossings Market, and if you go on Friday or Saturday during the day to Crossings and trade for, they have a specific breastplate, a necklace called the Cinnabar Hanger, and I'm trying to think of what they're called. And there we go, fishing is level 4. This is another reason why. Fish when you can, because it is good to, it will get you more in terms of trade value. Oh, that's right, they did not have a line, that's why I don't have that. A line is also not my favorite way to see ghosts. I prefer tea berries or specifically tea. But for me, combat usually goes fast enough that I do not I always end up guarding for the first few turns. And if you have a high enough ward, actually you can find good footwear, body wear, and a necklace at the Crossings Market, as well as a better blanket. Well, the better blanket you can find. Oh, hello. This is what I was trying to find last night. This is the Selka glass merchant, or glass vendor. And I don't have a lot of items on me right now, but the glass droplets are probably the most value to weight. See, they're 0.5 and worth only a little bit less than the ritual shiv. So I can basically cut some of my carrying capacity if I trade these out. Now, obviously, the merchant is not going to... The Selka Glass merchant is very hard to, I guess, get to behave. He's very, very difficult to barter with, simply because he is always very picky and tight with his wallet. I would argue that one of the best swords is the one you can get from Elkin Rock Coast, which I showed in part 1, and I'm not sure that I want to spoiler that again. But I prefer the Riverfield Guard over a lot of different items, I guess. I think all of these have bonuses that I need. Yes. Yeah, I'm probably not going to be able to. We're just going to move all of these back. I'm going to move one. Okay, I can deal with that. Now Oh, that's volume 2. That's annoying. But yeah, I just much prefer uh I much prefer being able to have a higher ward and have the enemy attacks not get through my guard for the first few turns of combat, while I get the rhythm down of switching back and forth. But I only do combat sometimes in this game. Heavily I don't heavily do combat the same way that some people try to do, because there's not, like, this doesn't really feel like a combat RPG. It's something that if you want it in the game, it's there. But okay, speaking of combat, I should probably just show the basics of... So I have the weapon proficiency equipped, which means I can use the full stats of the weapon. You do not get to use the full stats of the weapon if you don't have that equipped. Your other stats are simply based off of what you are wearing and carrying. So I have fairly low stats. I have 7 force, 3 ward, 8 speed, and 1 burden. And this warden is possibly the best to practice combat with. Need a lesson of dueling. All duels start with drawing of a blade. Getting in a battle stance signals to your opponent you wish to give them a good thrashing. Yeah, you have to, it's basically you have to click the battle stance action down here. There is a red circle that will appear around you that when you do that, you can sort of see the dancing red dotted circle around me when I hover it. And then if you do not leave that circle, or your opponent doesn't leave that circle, then you can fight. I am going to do this. The best defense is a good omen. I agree with that. Thank you, Anacario and Xanth, for this. So if I do this, it'll put me into combat tutorial. This is one of the other reasons why I suggest skipping to Batsaha as quickly as you can. It tells you about the combat tracker. This is not a combat video, so I'm just going to show you... and it's just, you can change your decision, how you move along the trackers based on your speed stat. Once the first person hits initiative, obviously. And when they hit you, it can move you back along the tracker. Let's see. It tells you, and this is basically just telling you when your ward is reduced to 0, you will start suffering wounds. That's what the number 1 down here is. Swift Strike only deals 1 ward damage, but for those attacks, your force determines how much ward damage is caused. Taking a hit while the action phase pauses a combat initiative icon on the tracker, delaying your combat action. balanced attack gives their full force, which in their case is 2. I don't know why they had me defend on this. You suffer less damage from attack and no pushback when you defend. Also, when you defend, you end up in the middle of the initiative tracker because it boosts your initiative for the next round. This is why I like to have high ward, because if this wasn't a tutorial, I'm pretty sure I would have gone down on that last strike. Yeah, I don't think I'm winning this one. Yep. And then the final hit is 0. And it says, why not seek some other trainers of martial improvements? There are wardens, dueling wardens along the roads, and also in any of the settlements, usually. But now that that's combat, let's see. Are there any fishers? Sometimes there are fishers along the shore, and they will sell you worms. Oh, after combat you are usually tired, so resting for a few seconds is helpful. And will impact your stamina less. Doesn't look like there are, though. That said, I will have to obtain worms a different way. How many do I have? 42. Yeah, I have a ways to go. So we turned over the ghost hairballs to Ethel, got the ritual shiv, visited the Wandering Weaver, which is one of the main, people I would get specific, skill books from, such as Fold, Port of the Deer, if they have it, Knot of the Cheater. Flaring Crescent, if you are a Southern Wind and you don't want to bother with carrying around a sword. I don't know if I can turn onto a deer to go on the boat. But, these are the animal ports, and, with Port of the Deer, as I mentioned, it turns you into a deer. Each of the animal ports are different. This one requires garden balsam, but all of them will usually require a tuft of animal hair, but the other ingredient will vary, and they each have their own effects. Port of the Deer drastically increases your running speed, which actually, you know, let's see if we can just... Oh, the other ferry is not going to be on that side of town. Sad face. Things that will take you out of animal ports, if you pick up an item, whether that is a physical item in a chest or a reagent on the ground. If you are looking for a disguise spell that you won't change back, Knot of Memorob is the one to do for that. The better you are at the skill, the longer it lasts. However, I've found that for sneaking around... Oh, hello. Let's just be polite and wave. someone else is going to Batsaha today. But yes, you can occasionally run into other travelers, and this will pop up the group. Any traits you picked that require or rely on being part of a party, trigger when that, when the group, effect pops up at the top of the screen. And you can choose to cancel the effect if you wish. I am leaving, so I am not going to be wandering around, but if you are a part of the group, if you have skills, there are skills like Mind of the Tactician, which increase your ward when you are part of a group. There are other skills like self-sacrificing that help your party members regain more energy when eating, and you regain less. And as you see when I'm running, my energy meter can go down pretty quickly, especially if it's raining. The crossings market on Friday and Saturday also have vendors that will sell umbrellas and other walking sticks that are particularly good for combat builds that focus on ward, which again I don't do combat as much, so I keep my ward fairly high and I don't focus as much on force. But for those who want more items that have force attached to them that are offhand items, in addition to the ritual ship that you can get from Ethel, the crossings market can be a fairly good alternative to pick up pretty much anything. Now, one of the things I'm thinking about now that I have the Omen Pebble, is how much mechanics can I actually acquire? And what is giving... Yeah, the belt will give me a negative. That's a -2 mechanics. Alright. Pretty sure this has a bonus. Yeah, this has a bonus to mechanics. And I think this only has a bonus to... Yeah, that's spirituality and sociality, not mechanics. And that doesn't have a minus to it. Alright, and then the sword has +1 mechanics. For those who are interested in armor sets, there is an armor set at the night market on Tuesday, and I have another video, little roleplay video about visiting the night market. And that is something that I would highly suggest anybody who is interested in both combat and mechanics look into if you can. Checking the general store shopkeepers for items is also fairly useful. I still like the best defense is a good omen. The Omen Pebble, let's see. Occasionally you can get items from these that will give you, or from interlocking machine parts that will give you other bonuses, but for right now I am going to go to the underbelly and see what I can find in terms of items from there, and then I'm going to see about possibly if I think Mechanics at 8 or 9 is probably what you want to aim for when it comes for more difficult lock boxes. Because the lock boxes in Harrow Ledge and the lock boxes in Crescent Link are usually somewhere between I think 6, sometimes 5, and 9 respectively, and 9 lock boxes that require 9 mechanics to open are much more I don't remember you. Usually carry much better items. Thank you, Xanth. 9 is the maximum, 7 is the check just below that. Okay. Thank you to people in chat who are helping me make this video as, I guess, as coherent as I possibly can with what items are worth it and what are worth keeping early on if you find them. I am probably not... Oh, strong personality. This is useful aside from the fact that I am Eastern Wind, but it increases my sociality to the point where I do not need to... I can always have... Having these passive skills available is always good, because it means that if I need to finish a sociality endeavor for some reason and just end up with something that is right below, then I can still usually complete it. Let's see, I'm going to have to skedaddle soon, but that just means we're going to check the 2 locations in the underbelly that I would recommend getting, or recommend going to, even if you don't have a lot of time one day, or you're not sure what to do and you don't have the energy to look around and talk to NPCs. These 2 locations, and I showed this earlier, the statue room in the northwest and the chest in the water in the southeast are the 2 places I would consistently check for any playthrough. When you start out, there is a chest up the stairs in a mossy area. If you go out and around the pond that the chest hidden in the water cave is in, that carries gear. So if you are specifically looking for gear, that is something that I would always check. But for the sake of time, we're just going to do the quick checks. Brew of Land and Sea. This is another one that normally I would have to go, I would either get it from the Esoteric Merchant in Batsaha, or in the most northwesterly portion there is a Wind Voice apprentice named Kefi who sells it. This is why I encourage you players to check here every day, because Brew of Land and Sea allows you to see spirits, which will allow you to complete not only a actual quest here in the underbelly, but it allows you to see important ghosts outside of just that. And always collect the silk flowers because they are useful for teleportation and are a very rare ingredient. Alright. But, yeah, that chest is one that consistently has decent skills, I would say, in it. In the one in the corner in the archway. The one in the middle of the room is usually the one that has, not always, but sometimes has some extremely rare items. And either items you can trade or items that you can use and trade or upgrade later. As certain items do actually, like I said, with the Crafter's Pavilion, do actually have an upgrade that you can get for them. This little guy, little ghosty guy, in the middle there is part of the quest that you need in order to do the underbelly quest. Oh hey, Linnea, actually this is another important thing. Bravo, Linnea. We meet again if I'm not mistaken. I have been missing entry in my catalog of Omen. I always end up dealing with the moss omen. Refer to them as mosslings, yes. They are supposedly a magical spirit species. Okay, there are a few places you can find the item he is looking for, and the reward is worth it. I will say that. It is, especially if you find him early on. Again, another reason to come here very early. But I do not know if... I think I may be out of luck with... I don't think the item I am looking for is over here. It can be like finding a needle in a haystack. Usually it's a small, low item that you can find. It's the unknown droppings. Which are supposedly the leftover excrement of the moss omen. It is very hard to find. One of the reasons that I picked Observant as one of my traits is specifically so that I can see collectibles glimmer more often. It is one of the most useful traits, I think, if you're looking to play this as closer to an action adventure game and all you want is, you know, to be a hero and fight things and do stuff like that. This is Observant will help you find items like the items that our spirit naturalist Linnea wants. But the main location that they can appear in several locations. But when I see Linnea, the first place I check is over by that stairwell. Because over by that stairwell is the place I have most often found them. They do spawn in other places. I'm pretty sure they can spawn. They spawn particularly on green areas, usually. Um, but I am technically not looking for. I would, if you find Linnea down here, it is worth taking the time to look around, especially if you have a decent lantern and things like the observant trait, which will allow you to see which will allow you to see items glow on the ground better. You usually need to be walking. I found that even observant doesn't necessarily mean that items will glimmer if these are just reagents. If you're running. I personally do prefer to play as a escort and messenger. I deliver packages and mail around the Braided Shore by breaking into Casa, the lockdown city in game, and taking the mail and delivering it to people. And I also have occasionally accidentally ended up with banned goods. Oh, this is a good one. Fall Gem Pendant increases both spirituality and mechanics. I keep the replica Fall Gem Pendant on my characters a lot. I already have Create Wind Shelter. I don't need this, but necklaces are lightweight, and that's relatively lightweight. That's not worth it. I already have Lilith's Cobalt Dew. Jadestone with details. Yeah, rings are usually worth it for the lightweight that they have. Let's see, this is just mechanics. Yeah, I'm gonna swap that out for the replica Full Gem Pendant, since most of what I'm doing right now is just getting the characters' talents to a point where I feel comfortable doing a lot of endeavors. And while we are fairly well off in the physicality department. I feel like I'm still lacking, and we have some spirituality items. I feel like I'm still lacking in mechanics as a whole, because I only currently have 6. I actually think I have 7 if I were to put down the torch, but I am aiming for 9. See, this is what I like. This is not moss or unknown droppings. This is underbelly moss, which is used for something else, for another quest down here. But as you can see, like, there's little, like, it's very small and flat, and that is part of the issue with finding the omen droppings. Let's see. Simple brewer's cloak. I don't generally pick up cloaks unless it seems. Best friend of the brave traveler. That is a new sword I have not seen. And a +1 to sociality with no weight. Yeah, Xanth, the Replica Fall Gem Pendant has got to be one of my favorites. Um, just in general. Um, I'm gonna eat a mushroom since I'm lower on. I'm taking the cloak because I'm going to try to go over. I think I think the cobalt cloak I have earlier actually does count towards the robe of crying wind, so the cloak, the quest, that gets you the Simple Brewer's cloak is good quality though, so it might. Hopefully, my idea is that one of these I will leave them in my inventory, and as a result, hopefully, if I'm lucky enough to find the Not From Ancient Times from either Ethel or the Esoteric Merchant, or from one of these chests, technically you actually can find the Not From Ancient Times down here. Or Ancient Poem not the rare poem knot. There's two of them. There's the ancient poem knot and the rare poem knot. You want the ancient one. But okay, Brewer's Cloak does work. That's good to know, because then I can drop that at I will drop that at my I'll drop that at the train stash. This is one of the other reasons why I may go back to Ninian Turrican on a different server, as there are. I already collected part of those. And because you can, if you're looking to get items a little bit faster, honestly, the best thing you can do is server hop. It's faster, if you are someone who wants to start out quickly. Again, I like taking this game at a much slower pace. I like learning about characters and people and all of this other stuff. I am not someone who wants to power through the game, but I know that for people who may have not played in a while, who may not know what to do with their characters right now, this could be a fairly easy gameplay loop that you go through from the burnings to Myrrh, to Batsaha for the pet treats, and then two crossings for trade, and trade out your items in that loop, while saving certain specific items, like a sword if you want a sword, or the cloak if you want the Robe of Crying Winds, which is possibly one of, depending on if you get the ancient poem not faster, is possibly one of the fastest things to do, and that's why checking the underbelly for a couple of days can really just set your character up fairly quickly. because you may luck out and just get a couple of things that are very, very good. And I think for now I will end this here because we've kind of gone through the loop of like, okay, we go to, this is what we do at night, this is what we do during the day, and then we go back to the loop of like, one thing I will do is, since there is a particular quest that wants worms, and I just got a better mechanics necklace. Actually, I'll just add whistle to that for funsies. Whistle is not really something I use for much, but it's a fun little ability that lets you whistle. Not really a quick start tip. Alright, I'm at 81, so I'm almost at 99, which is another thing is if you can get 99 worms, there is a very appreciative kitty in the Casa Sewer that will help you get a pair of decent gloves to start out the game without you having to do anything other than collect a bunch of worms, which you are going to want for fishing anyway. Alright, so I will leave this off here. Hopefully, this will help as it ends the, loop of getting the items to Ethel and what you can get in return. Thank you everybody for watching, and I hope to see you soon in some more slower, calmer streams where I run around as my character and talk about lore, and I hope this maybe helps a few people get into the game or back into the game if you're not sure what might be the best loop for you to do. Alright. Thank you very much, and I hope you have safe travels.